Yo, what's good, world? It's your boy TWiZ, and welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes of TWiZDOM. 5 minutes of tips and tricks to help grow your music brand. Real quick, before we get started on today's episode, do me a quick favor. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we dropping gems every time I'm hopping on here, man, just to let you know. And today's episode is inspired by something that's going on in my hometown, Savannah, Georgia, man. There was an artist out there that, did like a tribute song, I guess, feel inspired by one of the famous artists that's in Savannah, R.I.P. Camouflage. He was a legend in Savannah, and a lot of people didn't really touch that because he's a super legend in his time. But this particular artist just wanted to tribute, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that but there's a proper way you got to do that. And I just want to just put some game out there for artists who always just covering different songs or remixing songs and things of that nature, right? So it can coexist. You can create a tribute song. You can utilize remixing or using somebody else's track, but there is a professional way of handling business, right? Especially now in the music industry where, everything is about IP. And IP is short for intellectual property. There's so many different platforms. There's so many different formats now that you have to protect your music, right? And so there's two things you got to understand before you, start to do something with music, okay? Now, whenever the music is created, there's two sides of it, all right? There's the composition side where you actually have the song, the lyrics, the beat, all of those things that is composed of the song. That's right there. It's its own thing that people own. All right. And usually that's owned by the songwriter or the people who collaborate on the beat. And then also there's the sound recording, which is your masters, right? And this is the person who actually owns the track. Now, sometimes if an artist is signed, they don't have ownership of the master. That's just only for the label or whoever is ownership of that. If you're an indie artist, you most likely own both of those. All right. So you want to make sure that you understand those things, because say, for instance, if you're trying to do something from an artist that's signed, you have to get two type of ownership. You got to get permission from the artist and the producer who own the composition side, and then you have to reach out to the label or whoever actually owns the masters to get permission on that too. And those, yes, because they're two separate things, you can potentially get two separate fees, right? And depending on the artist and stuff, it may be crazy amount of money that you're going to have to pay. But luckily, if you work with somebody that's independent or somebody that has ownership of their masters, that process is a lot easier. But again, those are two separate permissions, so you got to understand that right there. And another way, right? Whenever you want to release something that you are attributing or covering, you have to get what's called a cover license. Now, a lot of your dispos do that. TuneCore, DistroKid, they actually cover that part for you. When you're uploading your song, they'll ask you, hey, do you have permission to do this song? Or is this a cover song? Blah, blah, blah. And you still got to get clearance from the publisher if you do that thing. And then option number 2, interpolation. All right. So what that is if you re-record a beat or a hook, you have to still get clearance from the publisher or the person who's owner of the masters. OK, so again, the master person, you're really going to have to get in touch with option 3. And a lot of people do that is where they pick a famous beat or anything like that, they rap on it, freestyle, do any kind of thing of that nature. And while you may do that, you may not release it on like a platform like Apple Music, Spotify and stuff, but you may put it on like an app like YouTube or SoundCloud or something like that. That's not super, official, like a streaming store. But this is the thing, though. When you do that, you have to accredit it in your credits. Hey, I do not own the rights to this song. This is for promotional use only. I do not own the rights to the song, like all that stuff. I'm sure you've seen it before, but you got to put that inside of your stuff, right? Because that allows them to know that, hey, I'm not getting any money from this. I'm not promoting it to get money. This is just showcasing my craft, tributing to the artist, blah, blah, blah. Like those are the things that's what you could do with that. And then you could keep that up there. Unless the team tells you to take it down, because they still have the right to tell you to take it down, but that's the correct way to do it. And then the fourth one, create inspired originals. That's the most safe thing, right? You can create a beat inspired by something, but you want to make sure you spin it into a way that's yours. You can't take any elements from the actual original composition. You're recreating it in a different way, and you're showcasing it in a different way of how you're doing that. So that, to me, is always like the safest bet, to kind of just create your own original that may be inspired by something else, but you don't have any components of the actual original track. All right. And, I get hip hop. Hip hop has always been a sampling culture. Right. But a lot of times you got to understand that a lot of these artists that are out here that have these clearances, they're part of the same label. A lot of them are owned by the same label. So obviously the clearance part is a no-brainer because the label owns the mastering, so they can get permission to do that. So if you don't have if you don't have like connections like that, or you're not signed to a label, you have to reach out to them independently, and it's however much they decide or feel like charging. And then there's been some cases where an artist may like a song so much and they give you the cosign. They'd be like, yo, just give me X amount of dollars on the back end as you promoting it, da 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 da, and that's cool, right? So you got to really move with intention with these things. Okay. Like copyright is really, really important. And if you haven't gotten your copyright, man, you can make sure you check out some of my other videos that talk about what you need to do to make sure your music is copyrighted. Because it's important to protect your music, because you don't want anybody just taking it and creating something totally different. And you just want to protect your music overall. So artists, if you get the urge to want to just, take somebody else's music, and it could be harmless, right? It could be harmless as possible, but you want to make sure that you follow the proper chains and protect yourself and protect your music. Okay. And remember, creativity is freedom. All right. It is freedom, but there is power in ownership. Okay. All right. It's been another episode of 5 Minutes of TWiZDOM. If you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I can't stress that enough. All right. Make sure you hit that notification bell to check out all the gems I have, and share this with somebody who may need to know a little bit of something about copyright. All right. It's your boy TWiZ, another 5 Minutes of TWiZDOM. I'm out. Certified.